Absolutely. I think, I've had some interesting conversations with some executives that, there's still some fear and there's some legitimate concern around AI. I think you have to be very responsible with it. That's one of the most important things. You need to make sure that while you are using it, you are still representing yourself accurately. You're not letting it put words into your mouth. And I've done that for years with working with people on their resumes. That's the big thing, is make sure that anything that comes out of AI, that anything that comes out of it that you're working with on a coach, that it is still your authentic self. You may be growing, but you need to be able to, hey, if you're talking about a 50% increase in something and an AI has put that in for you and you think it sounds pretty cool, but you get into an interview and you can't actually give some legitimate information about how you helped that 50% increase happen, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. So I think, yes, use AI, but also realize that you need to continue to be authentic, and you need to make sure that you are properly representing yourself.
The Intelligence Forge podcast is sponsored by Permasize AI Forge. The Intelligence Forge podcast is sponsored by Permasize AI Forge. At Permasize AI Forge, we know you're ambitious, but are manual tasks like admin, lead generation, nurturing, and onboarding holding you back from truly scaling your business? Imagine saving dozens of hours every week, freeing you to deepen client relationships and execute high-impact strategy. Our clients aren't just imagining it. They're saving countless hours per week and doubling their revenue within months. We custom-build AI automation systems that eliminate the grind. From effortless lead generation and nurturing to seamless onboarding, we give you back the most valuable resource, your time, so you can focus on building those vital human connections and driving strategic growth. Stop letting repetitive tasks limit your potential. It's time to build a business that works for you, not the other way around. Ready to unlock your true scaling power? Visit PermasizeAIForge.com and book your free AI audit call today to discover how you can save time and double your revenue. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the Intelligence Forge YouTube channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss a new episode.
Thanks for joining us today. We have a very important guest today. Her name is Kristina Baumler. She's going to be introducing herself. Kristina, thanks for joining us today. Can you start by introducing yourself to us, to our audience, your company, what you do, and a few background about your journey in the IT industry?
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to meet everybody, and thank you very much for hosting me today. So I'm the founder of Web-Footed Consulting. I specialize in career strategy for senior IT leaders. And I got into this role because I'm a self-proclaimed geek from way back. I was in online chat rooms in the mid-'80s. I was gaming before it was cool. And I've been a lifelong translator between IT professionals and the rest of the world, really trying to help make tech speak more humanized. My career roots trace back to Impact Publications, where I really developed a curiosity around career development. And that's where it first sparked my interest in this journey. Some of my roles that I've led over time have included being Monster.com's nonprofit career expert. I also, when I was working on a book that I wrote years ago called 100 Top Internet Job Sites, when I was doing research for that book, I found this neat company that reached out to me, and it was called Network Solutions, and that really got me into the super higher tech corporate environments, which was a lot of fun. And I worked at Network Solutions, which became VeriSign, for about 6 years. And I moved on to Freddie Mac, where I worked for 13 years. And Freddie Mac was just an amazing experience. Not only did I work on communications for them, and IT was my main client internally, but I also started to get into more employee-focused programs. So I was I led their early career hire programs in IT for about 5 years, was involved with learning and development. So I led their learning and development, including some major shifts, like bringing in the move from on-prem to cloud, and just a whole variety of really exciting big goals. And through all big roles, and through all of this, I got to work with some really amazing. I got to work with the CEO. I got to work with different CIOs and different executive leaders, and I just kind of fell in love with IT even further. When I left Freddie, I had a little bit of a career shift temporarily while I was looking for a job, and leaned a little bit more into career development then, and helping people with job searching and really career coaching, I wasn't quite ready to move on it. I had one more corporate experience to get into, and that was doing government contracting, which is really big in the DC area. So I worked for a company called CGI Federal, which was an amazing experience and really got me tuned into even more understanding what federal employees were like to work with.
Your 20 years experience in the communication and tech leadership is very impressive, and I must say that, you've paid your dues. But moving on, can you maybe walk us through that moment when you decided that you're going to launch Web-Footed Consulting? What was going through your mind at that time? What was the catalyst that propelled you to make that move?
So I was going through my third corporate career layoff with CGI Federal, and I had a great experience working for them, but I found myself back in the job market again. And I was really going through there were some personal things, as many of us have lives outside of our jobs. There were some personal things that I was dealing with, as well as just trying to find that next career move for myself. So I'd been through the experience before 2 other times. Each time I'd learned more, and each time I'd learned more that not only helped me, but helped other people. And so I went through the job searching for a while, and it just wasn't quite working. I was getting some great traction. I was making it through 3 rounds of interviews. I was making it to being in the final choices with a few jobs, but I wasn't really loving the jobs that I was applying for. Yeah, so I was struggling a little bit, and then I started to think about it a little bit more. And what I really wanted to do was I really wanted to take all that knowledge that I gained. I saw more people struggling even more than me. I wanted to take all that knowledge that I gained and actually pursue a long-time dream of stepping into full-time career coaching. So I dusted off the work that I'd been doing with Web-Footed Communications then since 2012. And I rebranded it and repackaged it as Web-Footed Consulting. And when I was I really took the steps that I needed to do to invest more in myself. So I hired a career coach. I stopped job searching, which was a little bit scary at the time. And I really worked on building out my network, trying to create content and information that would be helpful to people who were also looking for jobs. And the cool thing was, it resonated with people. I heard people saying that the information I was providing was really helpful to them, that they learned a lot from them. I talked to former clients, and there was just this support and this need for more help. So I leaned into it, and I decided I really needed to focus on finding that particular niche that I was interested in. So I looked back through my career and the different groups that I'd worked with, and I felt this need to give back to the IT community. They're fantastic, as you know. They're fantastic. They're talented. They know so much, but they don't always know how to communicate it. And when it came to job search, that was scary to so many of them because there are a lot of introverts and neurodiversity in the IT field. So I thought if I could help them through it, using my expertise to guide them into the steps they needed to take, I absolutely could be giving back to them as many things as they've given back to me.
Wow, that's fascinating. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
I know you have a lot of successes, but one of the things I wanted to just know probably in like a few seconds is your experience, changing into the high career. What did you see as the most valuable things for you that you can share with our audience?
I think flexibility is huge when it comes to high tech. There are so many things. I think of big product launches that we had done. We were trying to get employees prepared and ready for things that were coming up. It's a lot of flexibility, is a lot of communication. And those two things are really, really key. The flexibility is important because IT changes constantly. And as you are launching new projects, you're learning more and more. No matter how much testing you do, you still learn more and more about how to make things better and how to make things more efficient and effective for the consumers of that IT. So really trying to be flexible and iterate along the way. We're done with those taking years before we launched anything. And now we're launching, companies like Microsoft taught us, go out before it's perfect and just get moving. So that's been one of the big things that I've learned is that flexibility and that willing to take risks and launch things before they're perfect, which is a little bit what I did with my company. The other thing I would the other thing I would tell people about getting into IT is just, I think you have to realize you can't go back in time. You learn from your mistakes and you carry those experiences forward, but don't beat yourself up if something didn't go right. Obviously, if you consistently make the same types of mistakes, you need to do some soul searching and introspection. But the big thing is just keep moving forward one purposeful step at a time. And that's not just working within IT, that's also job searching.
In your conversation earlier, you mentioned that AI is very fascinating. What AI tool are you also currently using within your coaching practice? And how has they enhanced the work that you do for some of your clients, if not all of your clients?
So I'm still relatively new to using generative AI, and my tool of choice is ChatGPT. So I formed a virtual consulting relationship with ChatGPT AI, and I've even named it Kristina's AI, so I talk to Kai for a whole variety of things. So what it has done for me is, as a sole practitioner, it has helped me expand my business dramatically. It gives me the opportunity to automate things, keep track of things more effectively, make sure that my messaging, I'm able to keep that main messaging body and make sure that that is consistent. So it's also helping me with consistency. Sometimes it goes a little bit off, and really it ends up becoming a good partner for me to make sure that I'm staying on track with what I need to stay on track with. That said, for my clients, what I'm encouraging them to do is, first off, I know there are some huge privacy concerns with AI. So I'm really encouraging them to be careful about sensitive information that they might share, PII. When I'm working with resumes or sensitive client information, I'm making sure to cleanse it before I put it into an AI tool, and usually give AI bits and pieces of things versus, for example, I wouldn't load a full resume in. But I think what it really does that's so fascinating is it is great for finding patterns. So I can, for example, share a number of different job listings that my clients might be interested in, and ask it to find commonalities in those job listings. And I'm not talking about just keywords, I'm talking a little bit more understanding what the intent of those jobs are. And since I'm working with a lot of senior leaders, that's really important, because I want to make sure that they're not looking at the nitpicky. Oftentimes some of them aren't even applying through applicant tracking systems, but instead they need to have that bigger picture, that more strategic approach and thought process. So I'm providing the same sort of approach for them and encouraging them to use AI the same way if they are using AI. They are choosing to use AI for career applications. I think the other thing, quite frankly, is it's good for just finding out what your strengths are. I sometimes have AI interview me if I'm preparing for something. I'll admit I even had AI interview me before I was preparing for this. And it ends up just being a good way to help you tease out what your key thoughts are. It helps you organize them a little bit more. And it just ends up being a great way to do that. I'm learning so much more about AI though, and I've talked to a lot of professionals, and that's one of the fun things about being in the IT space, is I'm learning a lot of what's going on, and I'm really trying to help identify for my clients some of the career shifts that they might have to make as a result of AI. And that might be learning that they need, that might be pursuing different types of opportunities. But I think the big fact is AI isn't going away, and we need to figure out how to responsibly and effectively work with it to move forward.
That's really brilliant. Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you.
If you have a magic wand today and you are to decide which AI tool you would have in your hand to use today, what would that be, and what effect would that be in your business?
I still think right now, as I mentioned, I'm still pretty new to it. It's still ChatGPT for me, but also some of the AI that Canva is working on. I can't live without Canva right now. It's so important to me from a graphic identity perspective. And I'm using some portions of the Canva graphic identity development. So that's been more for my business development as opposed to what I would recommend for my clients. But it's been really helpful to work with a combination of ChatGPT and Canva to help identify different visual collateral that can be used for marketing. And along those same lines, I have coached some of my and as I'm working with more senior leaders, I typically am doing this for them, really working with Canva AI to identify the best possible headers for LinkedIn, because using the old LinkedIn is still the main tool for networking and for job searching, especially. I think it's very, very huge within the IT community. And so I really want to help people make sure that they are best representing themselves. So getting those visuals out there, just that visual up top, perhaps using AI not to replace, but to enhance or make look more professional. Some of the profile pictures are definitely some other uses for it.
So are you saying that if you have a tool that can help the executive do all these, you will want to go for it? Is that what I'm hearing?
Absolutely. I think, I've had some interesting conversations with some executives that, there's still some fear and there's some legitimate concern around AI. I think you have to be very responsible with it. That's one of the most important things. You need to make sure that while you are using it, you are still representing yourself accurately. You're not letting it put words into your mouth. And I've done that for years with working with people on their resumes. That's the big thing, is make sure that anything that comes out of AI, that anything that comes out of it that you're working with on a coach, that it is still your authentic self. You may be growing, but you need to be able to, hey, if you're talking about a 50% increase in something and AI has put that in for you and you think it sounds pretty cool, but you get into an interview and you can't actually give some legitimate information about how you helped that 50% increase happen, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. So I think, yes, use AI, but also realize that you need to continue to be authentic, and you need to make sure that you are properly representing yourself. I think there's going to be a time, I'm looking at all of the images that are out there and people being confused about these nature images that are coming out that aren't identified as AI. I think we're going to see more and more of that, and there being a need to identify the difference between what is AI generated and what isn't. Or who knows, maybe it just becomes the standard going forward. It's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there is always the downside to everything in life. When people talk about the negative side of AI, I think I make people to understand that everything we do has some downside. It's just that we don't talk about some of those things day to day, but a lot of people focus on the downside to AI. And I tell them, why don't you focus on the positive side and then use it positively? I mean, give an example. People use gun in a negative way, but does that mean that gun is not good to defend? Does that mean that gun is not good when you're going to war, as a country? No, the answer is no. But money is good. But do people use money in a bad way? Yes. But
Yes.
should we focus on the fact that people use money in a bad way? No, money is good. A lot of things are good, but I think if we look at the positive side, then we can amplify the positivity rather than the negativity. I think that's just for me, just to add to what you've said. Okay, thanks for sharing that.
And
Let's look at. Okay, go ahead.
I was going to say, that's an excellent point, because if you think 20 years back, probably even further than that, the internet, people were resistant to using the internet, and look at how much it's become a daily part of life. I worked in the publishing industry for a little while, and my goodness, you couldn't have forced me way back then to pick up an ebook or listen to an audiobook, and now I can't. Now it's become a regular part of it. Give me Mel Robbins on an audiobook any day, and it's a regular part of our lives. So I think there's this resistance to things in the beginning, and people are concerned about all of the negative. But to your point, there are so many positive opportunities there that we need to embrace while still keeping aware of the risks.
That's true. Thanks for adding that. Let's move towards interview dynamics. How has AI changed the interview process for senior roles? Are you preparing clients differently because of AI? And what do you think the executives should expect?
So, yes, very much. Both positively and negatively, AI has changed the interview experience. There are some experiences where your first connection from an interview perspective is going to be with a purely AI purely AI on the other side. And that how that looks, that might be you looking into a camera, just like I'm looking into the camera with you, but that might be looking into a camera and looking at a series of questions that have been prepared in advance, and you have 3 minutes of content that you can give per question. You can do multiple takes, but it is all this, it is all automated process, and it's very different. It's a different dynamic, and for those people who gather their energy from person to extroverts who gather their energy from person to person interaction, it's going to be a very different feeling. So it's trying to encourage people who are going through that type of experience to really think about you presenting to a crowd. A lot of times they will give you different opportunities to do multiple takes, and I think IT sometimes we can have a lot of perfectionists in the field. I think sometimes you try to be too perfect, and the last take might actually be worse than the first take. So I really try to encourage people not to overdo it when you're dealing with AI driven interviews. Really to just be authentic, treat it as if you are in a real-time interview. You can go back and you can re-record it or redo it if something went horribly wrong, but just try to move forward with it like you would with a genuine interview. And you could even have somebody in the room with you or have a picture up on the wall, anything that drives you to feel more motivated and to feel like you're talking to an audience or to an interviewer will really help you get that energy up and be more positive about it. I think the other thing too is I know there's a lot of concern about AI going through and reviewing resumes. It is happening out there as recruiters have gotten more overwhelmed, I think, with the amount of resumes coming in, thanks to, I think, fully remote work opened that up a lot and really opened up the chance for people to apply anywhere in the world. And now that that's pulling back, we're still trying to renormalize the remote work and what that means and what hybrid means and all of that good stuff. Recruiters are still needing to have some tools to help them filter through the different mounds and mountains of resumes that they receive. But I'm still hearing of so many recruiters doing that personal touch. So I think, don't think that your resume has only gone through AI. Chances are excellent that, humans still need to help guide AI along the way. So there are very definitely going to be the human touches in the job search and application process.
Yeah, the human element, it's very important. You
Yes.
cannot rule that out. I think I've said that again and again. Some of the guests that we had on the podcast, that even if it's just the 5%, human element is very key when we are using AI. Thank you so much for that.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about your growth, your company. Where do you see yourself in the next 12 months? And what are some of the challenges you facing today that you think, well, maybe AI can help to resolve that? Maybe.
So I am planning some pretty large growth for my company. I'm hoping even to be well into six figures within a year's time. So it's going to be from a old perspective of just I was very working with my coach. I've learned that I was very undervalued in the type of work that I was doing and the work that I was providing for people. So I'm really looking to amp things up quite a bit. So I've used AI to help me with market research. It's been excellent with consolidating some feedback that I've received as I've been doing my own market research interviews with my ideal clients, learning a little bit more through that, and then comparing that to what else is going on in the world, what else is happening for IT. I think one of the big things AI is going to be doing is going out and collecting. I'm going to use it as an assistant, and I'll probably at some point in time bring in a virtual assistant too, because we need that human touch. But really understanding more about the trends that are happening within IT and within AI that will positively and potentially negatively impact potential clients and job searchers within IT. So a lot of market research, a lot of just understanding what the learning opportunities are out there for people. I've really I'm trying to partner a lot more with learning and development professionals to understand what they are seeing coming down the pike for IT leaders and ways that they could be learning and training themselves even more, not just on AI, but on other technologies that are developing technologies. So learning and development also, and then the third part is probably just continuing to grow my business, learning, using AI a little bit for helping expand my network, helping identify different products that I might offer to clients that will help them grow. And that's one of the big things really, is the helping them through understanding the steps that they need to go through, really being a little bit more, not a little bit more, really being a lot more strategic in their job search rather than just getting a resume out and applying. There's a lot more involved to it than just that, and that resonates with them once they are open to listening about the different steps that are involved.
Okay, thanks for sharing. But out of curiosity, have you taken any step lately in terms of how you're going to get or achieve that goal that you just explained now? And do you even think AI could come in to assist you even quicker?
I'm working with AI. I've got it open. I've got my chat GPT open all day. So I'm bouncing ideas off of it all day, every day. So it is a genuine partner for me. And there are definitely some ways that I'm playing around with new opportunities. For example, in the future, I'm still pretty new to using ChatGPT, but in the future I would like to create my own agent. And that agent, the purpose of that agent would be to help with questions round the clock for everyone, and really be a little bit of a slight clone of myself and capture some of the key foundations and coaching opportunities that I give to my clients, not as a replacement for me by any means, but as a partner and as a quick, almost like, sometimes when we have a computer problem, we'll go to help desk and we'll fill out a question, and that's AI because it's trying to understand what problem we're trying to solve and help us outside of a person. That's something that's been going on for many, many years.
Thanks for sharing that. What final advice do you have for top executives today, especially when it comes to using AI, adopting AI? I know a lot of people are still thinking or still deliberating, should I not? But what advice will you give to people out there?
I think AI is, just as there are so many other, just as coaches, resumes, practicing interviews, all of these things are different tools to help you get through the job search. So use them thoughtfully, use them responsibly, use them judiciously. Really search for your clarity as you are going through a job search, and make sure that you are always leading yourself first, not being led by somebody else. So that may sound like a little bit of an odd thing to say from a coach, but really my coaching style is more of a partnership. I have the knowledge and expertise. I want to make sure that the leaders, though, truly are being their leaders, that they are reflecting their authentic selves. And the other big advice that I would have in general is, don't wait for things to fall apart before making a change. So many people right now, I think, are waiting for, there's so much change, there are so many layoffs and rifts going on right now. They're waiting for that package to fall in their laps. That's too late. If you are waiting to build your network, if you're waiting to build your resume until you get your package, you're already a few months behind the curve. Make sure everything is updated, is current. Use AI or a coach to help you through that process, and really make sure that you are comfortable and you are familiar with the next steps that are out there waiting for you in your career transition.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
If people are looking for you, probably they love what you're saying and they want to connect with you, they want to engage with you further, where can they find you?
The two best places are on my website, which is webfootedconsulting.com. All one word with Webfooted Consulting. And I'm also extremely active on LinkedIn. So I'd be happy to connect with and talk to anybody in either of those places.
Thanks so much, Kristina. We're really grateful for coming on today. The insight that you've shared, I believe, is going to really make a lot of impact in the life of everyone that watches this. And hopefully we have you again sometimes. But I just want to say thank you for coming, and we're grateful.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. This has been delightful, and I appreciate you hosting me.
Thank you.
You didn't quit your day job to become a full-time admin assistant. The Intelligence Forge podcast is sponsored by Permasize AI Forge. At Permasize AI Forge, we know you didn't start your business to spend 60 hours a week on paperwork, chasing leads, and managing endless admin tasks. You started it to build something meaningful and serve your clients. But right now, you're trapped in the day-to-day grind instead of growing your business. What if I told you our clients are reclaiming 15, 20 hours per week, increasing their revenue by 30 to 50% within 6, 12 months, and finally getting their lives back? We don't just automate random tasks. We build custom AI systems that eliminate the bottlenecks choking your growth, from leads generation to lead, nurturing and management to project management to client follow-ups. Stop paying for an expensive, frustrating manual system. It's time to upgrade to strategic automation. Visit PermasizeAIForge.com and book your free business transformation strategy call today. Discover exactly how much time and money you're losing to manual processes and how to get both back. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the Intelligence Forge, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode packed with game-changing insights. Your future automated business is waiting.